Oh, hi everybody!
Hey.
Hello Theo! How are you doing?
Excellent.
I wasn't expecting an answer. Welcome to another Harry Potter video with Mr. Theo Gangi. You can see his resume right over here. Very, very impressive. So we wanted to talk again about Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, sure.
About a specific angle and theme, recurrent theme throughout the story, and that is the father figures that Harry has along the way.
The books are sort of coming-of-age stories that exist in cycles that sort of mirror certain stages of development, certain ages, certain experiences of life.
The father figure, in the mythological sense, is often the embodiment of the sort of the powers of the forces that move that world. Odin figure, or the Zeus, mythologically speaking.
My boy.
They're often a kind of manifestation of the highest authority.
Like moral issues, what's right and what's wrong.
Right, and also the forces of what makes things function, what gets things done, what the stakes of the story are wrapped up around. The father figure is going to be integral to that. So in Harry Potter, the stakes are often in the forces of high magic. Therefore, the father figure has to have a grasp of high magic.
Each book has a different take on this dynamic, on this mentor-mentee, father-son kind of dynamic, and they progressively get more and more interesting and more comprehensive for Harry as an expression of what it's like to grow up for a young man.
That being said, there's an unfortunate kind of gender equation that we have when we talk about father figures being of an ultimate authority. In the modern world, often it is women who can be ultimate authority and could just as easily be represented by a woman.
The ultimate authority and the ultimate expression of powers does not have to be a father or a male figure. It just so happens that a lot of stories that we've inherited are constructed this way.
Right.
And I just say that it's not like it's not to their benefit that we don't see more dynamic kind of,
Right.
She's very important, but she's also very stable. She represents the sacrifice that was made so that he could live, right? So he's always like literally living with his mother's love pulsing through him, right? He has the Mama Weasley character, who
Could not be more motherly.
Could not be more motherly. Is annoying sometimes, but is stable and is a presence for good in his life.
Like mothers, except our mothers who are never annoying.
No, the question of the power.
I said, Mommy, I'ma love you till you don't hurt no more.
In each book, pretty much, there's a kind of third act reveal of the identity of a prominent male character, right?
Okay, start with the first one.
The first one is Quirrell, right?
Right.
So
who seems to be like undangerous in every way.
He's the kind of punchline, Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher in name, right? But he's nervous, he's meek, and you don't expect anything from him. And it turns out that he has this force, this power, right? This power that relates to the powers of this world, like living within him. And it sort of mirrors Harry's arc, that book, as this kid you don't expect anything of, one of these meek, having this sort of hidden power, so to speak. And it happens to be his mother's love, right? That empowers him.
Right. His father went out to protect him, and his mother just hugged him with love. That's just like the gender roles, right? The father goes outside, protects, and explains how you operate in the world, and the mother just loves, just a bundle of love.
Right.
And maybe some fathers want to be just like maybe we be the stable ones. Okay, so then the second book.
The second book, the reveal centers on the Kenneth Branagh character.
Right.
Everybody's favorite dude, that guy.
This guy. Yeah.
That guy.
Such a memorable character.
Maybe
us forgetting his name is just mirrors what happened to him when he forgot his own name.
That's it.
Boom.
Called it.
Called it.
So the reveal of him is basically a fraud. It's not a huge surprise in that book.
Oblivion! No.
Really?
Okay, so twice Harry, beware. beware of mentors and beware of reveals.
Beware of trust, right?
Or trust. That's a very good education. So in the third one, is that his uncle? Sirius Black, he's the father figure.
His godfather, right?
His godfather, right?
You know, the first father figure, the first mentor figure is the Lupin character. He's the one who's really, in the first part of that book, filling that mentor role, that father figure role, teaching Harry about magic, telling Harry about who his parents were.
You're more like them than you know, Harry. In time, you'll come to see just how much.
And then also Sirius Black, unstable because of his legal situation.
Right, when Lupin kind of drops off as far as the reliability department is when the real identity of Sirius Black is revealed, right? So that's another big, there's a lot of the tricky identity reveals in the Prisoner of Azkaban. So Sirius Black, who was up until this point the threat of the book, right? The main danger was what's he going to do to Harry, right? Is revealed as
the closest thing we'll ever have to a dad.
Exactly, right. It turns out to be
just loves him, wants to raise him.
So we've got big binary reversals, right? But then the resolution of that book is also very important for Harry's sort of relationship with his father figure, because that's when he starts learning about his dad as the manifestation of the stag, right? Sirius Black, no longer the danger, is now the damsel in distress, right? He's going to die, right? The Dementors are about to consume his soul, and Harry looks up, and what does he see? He sees the stag, and he sees somebody casting the Patronus.
Expecto Patronum!
The power, the ultimate redeeming force, the manifestation of the Father, literally, in the shape of the stag, right? The one more twist in this story is that it turns out it was Harry himself going back in time and summoning his own Patronus, which happened to be in the shape of a stag. That's the hero moment. That is the achievement of Harry Potter up until that point, is that he manifests that Patronus, that, people are amazed by this, like that, a full Patronus at that age, right? It's a big deal that he's harnessed this power, and that it's in the expression of his father as the stag is very...
Right, the symbolism is just there.
Yeah.
Just there. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on to the Goblet of Fire, who's also a fraud, specifically.
Who turns out, who turns out to be, now at this point, Harry, if you're not like a little suspicious of the men in your life, like, I think you're like a little too naive, bro. You got to be highly, highly suspicious. But yeah, of course, Mad Eye Moody, he gives him all the tips to help him navigate the Goblet of Fire. He tells him what to do. He teaches him about that lesson about the curses, the 3 curses. So he is establishing the boundaries of what's permissible and not permissible in the world, right? That's an important mentor role. And then he turns out to be a fraud beyond frauds.
Right. He's just someone else.
Just a completely different person who is actually trying to not just kill him, but shuffle him to Voldemort so he can, be a part of this spell and this ritual. And
I have a feeling that Voldemort is going to be a father figure somewhere along the line. Am I wrong?
Right. The symbolism of Voldemort as the negative manifestation of the father figure is always there, right? And you got to think about a lot of villains are like that, right? A lot of villains are negative manifestations of father figures, because what's the scariest thing to us when we're an infant, right? It's like we identify our father, right, as the being that loves us, but what about that big figure in the background? What about that hulking, shape that walks, back and forth outside your bedroom, right? Those things that go bump in the night, that's your dad being not the nicest thing in the world, or not,
Right. Okay, so then after that, the 5th one is the Order of the Phoenix.
The Order of the Phoenix. So this is the one where Dumbledore is ignoring him, right?
The distant father.
And that just gets you correct, right? The distant father, right? So again, Harry's going through phases of what it's like to, go through complicated shit with your dad, or complicated stuff with your dad, right? He's feeling neglected, ignored, right? This is the guy, by the way, who put him with the Dursleys to begin with. Fuck that guy, right? And now it turns out, right? And now it turns out he can't even look at you.
Yeah, he's like he really is annoying by not being there,
Right.
Dumbledore. So he has an excuse in the story, right?
Right. Well, the reconciliation is still not all the way there.
After all these years, after all you've suffered, I didn't want to cause you any more pain. I cared too much about you.
I had to work, I had long nights at work, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, so the next one, the half-blood prince.
The Half-Blood Prince, right.
So he also has, the father figure of Dumbledore is also now kind of like a damsel in distress and needs his help and needs, seudi, how do you call it in English, whatever, when your father is old and he needs to be helped, he cannot feed himself, he cannot drink, right? He has to make him drink. That was what happens to Dumbledore.
Right.
And he's losing his mind. He's like, no, Dad.
Right.
We talked about it, Dad. You have to drink your medicine.
That's right. That's right.
It's
That's
very,
like
very hard.
Father in decline. Yeah, that next age. Couple, really interesting things there, right? With the reveal on who Snape is, right? So yeah, of course, we knew the Half-Blood Prince was a suspect figure for sure. He was sort of set up deliberately as that insight that you're not really sure you should be listening to, like that type of father figure, the one that like shows you how to break the rules and is a little dodgy, but actually gets you ahead, and is the one that actually works, right? The one that shows you how to mix the potion that works, right?
Congratulations.
So that was set up that he was a kind of dodgy figure, but that it was Snape, I think, was a nice surprise.
Yes. I'm the half-blood prince.
A nice twist that because then you got to start looking at Snape all along, and he's always been this abusive, terrible figure, but there's this underlying theme here that maybe even those terrible figures in our life are required to make us who we are, right? That he still taught Harry maybe more than anybody, right? He teaches Harry the toughest lessons in the end.
We've been at it for hours. If I could just rest.
The Dark Lord isn't resting.
In this one, he's basically.
You think he's the evilest dude?
He's the evilest dude, of course. Right.
So the big reveal in the last book is that he was actually protecting him like a god, whatever, doing all. He was the Patronus that showed him the way when they were hiding out, basically doing the stuff.
Another full identity reversal.
Always.
And also he's kind of an asshole.
He doesn't like you.
See that Harry's
The point is
guy?
that your father doesn't have to like you to love you.
To teach you and guide you.
Right.
Okay, and Voldemort. So he's the anti-Harry, the bizarro Harry.
Yeah. Voldemort is like that dark power energy that births the hero.
You've got to mean it, Harry. She killed him. She deserves it.
Right, the one that really makes him who he is. You know.
And he thinks that he's sometimes scared, I'm going to become like my father, that evil father, right? So then he has to slay the father, to kill the father. That's obviously a big theme, mystical scene.
Right, exactly. Yes.
You have to kill the father to become.
You have to kill the father.
Who you are.
Right. You slay the dragon like Siegfried. You taste his blood, and then you hear the song of nature, and your wisdom of the way of the world is opened up to you. Click.
Okay,
click.
So that camera just stopped. I think that's a good sign. To wrap it up, thank you, Theo. That was very, very interesting. All these father figures, and we haven't mentioned Hagrid, who we talked about before, that we both didn't think that he was very much of a father figure, more like a drunk uncle or something. But J.K. Rowling, for some reason, she thinks that she does see him as a father figure. We don't have to accept how she sees it. This is the text.
Right. Well, everyone. I think in the sense that like he's a father figure, and he's probably the first grown man that actually loved Harry, right? That treated him with any kind of love and dignity, and got him a. So yeah, I think in like real life, that's a father figure, right? That's somebody who came, the first person that brings you a cake. But like when you talk about mythical terms, we say father figures. We're always talking about Zeus on the mountain, the Voldemort, or the Dumbledore, or the Gandalf character.
Has to have some
Father
added
figure,
value.
right.
Some
it's mythic.
magical
It's symbolic. It's symbolic and mythic.
Okay, what do you think? Please tell us in the comments, and if you want some more Harry Potter videos, also mention in the comments, and check out our Twitter account. Why not mention the Twitter account? Boom, it's right here, and Facebook page. So check those out. Thank you for watching. Thank you, patrons, for supporting the channel, and we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody. So if you've been enjoying Goth Academy videos for a long time, you're gonna love the Goth Academy podcast. Yes, we have a podcast now. You can check it out on iTunes, on Spotify, on Stitcher, the Goth Academy podcast. Because it's in podcast form, the conversations can be longer, we can go deeper, we have new collaborators, it's all super, super exciting. So we're not just a YouTube channel anymore. Now we do content. Check it out, the Goth Academy podcast.